Hi, I'm Cheryl Hamada. Welcome to this episode of Extreme Homes, the program that brings you inside some of the world's most original houses. We start today in the middle of Lake Erie, about halfway between Sandusky, Ohio and Canada. The Casper family has been coming to South Bass Island for nearly 30 years. You can only get here by boat, plane, or ferry, which is the way most people arrive.
And it's a summer paradise. People come here by the thousands of the ferries going back and forth. It's kind of like a Mackinac Island type of a flavor, or a Key West flavor, I like to think of it. And it's just a very fun place to come with your family.
Though Jerry Casper and his son Brian run several car dealerships in the Sandusky area, when they're on South Bass Island, they rely on the dominant mode of transportation. Not surprisingly, though, theirs is no ordinary golf cart. And like many people on the island, they live in a cabin here. But theirs is no ordinary cabin. It's a structure they gawked at and admired for years, like everyone else who cruises by.
Of course, when I was younger, I used to think that the ship had gotten there because it had wrecked here.
It hadn't, of course. It's actually the forward deck house from a 690-foot-long ore boat. It was built in 1923 as part of the Ford motor fleet and named the Benson Ford after one of Henry's grandsons.
The Fords had it built, this and a few other ships, for steel for their car plants. In the Rouge, up in the Detroit River, they would take the ship and they'd load up with steel and bring it back for their car plants. And they decided that this particular one, and I think one other ship, that the Fords were going to use for some summer cruising. And so they really did this one up exceptionally well.
About 15 years ago, the ore boat was headed for the scrap heap, but an ambitious Ohio couple decided to salvage the handsome front structure. Somehow they managed to haul it by crane to its present perch on a limestone cliff, a technical feat considering that the structure weighs 220 tons. When it came up for auction recently, the Caspers put in the winning $410,000 bid.
We thought the ship would go for a lot more money than it actually did. Real estate on this island could go for $250,000 pretty easily just for the land that it sits on, very easily. So I think we made a pretty good buy. I blew the budget a little bit, but we're going to enjoy it.
They plan to use it as a family compound. Brian is up here frequently with his wife Emily, as is Jerry with his wife Cindy. Brian's siblings and their family are expected to use it as well, and there's plenty of room for all.
On the first level, on the outside, there's a garage from the back half. And then on the second floor, there's quite a sizable deck. The rails are a little high, so you can only stand up on that level if you want to see out and see the water. The second level and the third level both have really nice decks. Matter of fact, right up on the top, there's a deck you could probably fit 70, 80 people on.
In fact, from that top deck, you might think you're really at sea. That's equally true from various vantage points inside. We'll see that when Extreme Homes returns. We'll also see the amazing staterooms where Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, and other illustrious guests stayed when they were on board. Welcome back to Extreme Homes. We're on South Bass Island in Lake Erie. Brian Casper and his father Jerry recently bought the forward living quarters of an ore boat that was once part of the Ford fleet. The structure was in good shape, so they devoted most of their attention to decorating matters. But that was a massive undertaking with some unique challenges.
We ordered about 290 square yards of carpeting, and the ship itself, in the appraisal that was done before we had bought it, it said there was 7,100 square feet inside.
It's a real chore getting things up. It's easy getting them out, you just throw them over the side, but getting them up is not so easy. If you come in the center of the ship, you enter the galley area. It's all stainless steel. Our next project is to try to bring all those coolers and freezers back to life to see if we can. And it's got a beautiful terrazzo floor on it. Now that kitchen would have been the kitchen that would have served the guests and the officers at the front of the ship. To your right, as you're walking towards the front of the ship, was the game room where they used to play cards and things, and that is a beautiful room, and the debate is whether it's mahogany or black walnut. To the left of the galley is the formal dining room, and the hutch is all built in, and it's just gorgeous, all inlaid wood. Just to the front of the ship, on each side of the ship are matching staterooms, which are very spacious. They have their own couch in them. They have cedar-lined closets in both of them with lights. They have king-size beds, and then you have your own bathroom with a shower stall, a commode, and a bathtub. And there's 2 of those, and that's just all on the first level. You walk up a rather steep set of stairs right in the middle from the first floor, and you're in the salon area, which is a very spacious 180-degree view of Lake Erie off the front of the ship.
It looks as though you're actually in the water from that level, and it's a great place to be.
To the right there, you go back through a door into the captain's office. His desk was there and a little bunk for him to sleep if he just wanted to catch a cat nap or something. And then directly behind that office is his private quarters, which was a double bed, a built-in chest of drawers, closet, and then he had his own private bathroom back there with a shower. And on the side of that are 2 more rooms. One of them is another room with a bunk bed in it that has the radio people used to be in. So there's 2 bunks. And then there's another room that the pilot, the fellow that steered the ship, was in, and that has like a twin bed in it. And then there's another bathroom for the 2 of them with a shower. That's just on the second level.
And the highest level is the bridge, where the sailing of the ship was managed. The Caspers don't use it for that, of course, but the views are great and the equipment is amazingly intact.
This was the original ship's wheel, and you got the little clicks that just lets him know exactly where his rudder was for being centered. So now he's on center. If you go out the front, you'll see the white pole sticking up in the area. That was his center line out there. That let him know that's the center of the ship. And then right over here was the radio direction finder, and the Loran was above it, but this is just another means of navigation, letting you know where you're at and what you're doing. And this is all the original heating up in here, the radiators where we pump antifreeze, heated antifreeze through these to keep everything warm.
In fact, the 1923 radiators are used to heat the entire structure. They did have to put in new boilers, though. As much as possible, they'd like to use the ship's original equipment. Take the intercom and communications systems, which have alarms in all the bedrooms. They're currently disabled.
We were thinking about re-enabling them so that if we were going to call a cocktail hour, we'd wake up everybody in the ship. But we haven't gotten those hooked back up yet.
Obviously, the Caspers are anticipating many wonderful evenings spent aboard.
It's quiet, and if you open your doors, you get to hear the water lapping. And it's not like being on a ship, but it's real close.
I don't think I'll ever sell it. I could never replace it. I couldn't imagine a nicer, better home and a